piecewise functions can be so practical in so many ways. One of them is overtime. Another one might be different tax brackets. Lots of different things you can use it for, but let's just do the one with the overtime. So you have a summer job that pays time and a half for overtime. Overtime is the hours worked over 40 hours per week, because 40 hours is considered full time. Time and a half means that if I work an extra hour beyond that, then it's sort of like I worked an extra hour and a half in terms of my pay. We'll get to that in a second. So how much money do I make if I work 10 hours? This is really basic, so no stress on this one. If I work 10 hours and I get paid $8 an hour, that's $80, and no one is confused because that's really basic math. How much money do I make if I work 40 hours? Well, that would be, 40 hours times 8, still no confusion here, and that would be $320. So how much money do I make if I work 41 hours? Oh, okay. Now, if you know the answer is 332, don't blurt it out. So here's the deal. I would make $320 because I've already worked 40 hours, but I have worked one extra hour. I'm going to put a 1 here. Seems a little irrelevant, but I'm going to put a 1 anyway. I'm going to have a 1 hour at which I did not earn $8 an hour. I earned, check this out, 8 times $1.50 an hour, which would be 12. So I get $12 an hour for every hour over 40. So let's just keep that green because I'm making bank at this point. That parenthesis is green, that one's blue. The whole thing's a mess. So 332, like I said. And even though we have answered all the questions here, I think it's worth our time to do something wild and crazy. We're going to make a function out of this, okay? So here goes. Let's do this. First of all, it's a two-piece, piecewise. We're going to have two things. And we'll call it P of H. Why? Let's define some variables. P of H is pay, and H is the hours worked in a week. So P of H is the pay in 1 week also. And H would be the number of hours I work. So if you want to word this all mathematical, which makes sense in this context, the pay is a function of hours. How much I get paid depends on how many hours I work. The phrase depends on really helps you determine what variable is the inner workings of the function, okay? Or is going to be the input of the function. So we have two pieces of our piecewise function. The first piece is the easy one, and I could work less than 40 hours. Now, let's be honest, I could work less than or equal to 40 hours. So that's going to be one piece. And the other piece is going to be when I work more than 40 hours. I could work 40 and a half and I'd be here, right? I could work 41 and I'd be here. I could work 40 hours and 5 minutes, and if the person who is dealing with my pay is that meticulous, then I'd be in this category, okay? So, easy one. When I get paid for working less than 40 hours, I just basically get $8 an hour. That's no big deal. Let's put a comma. That one's done, okay? $8 an hour. But if I get paid for working over 40 hours, it's not as easy as saying, oh, well, it's 12 times the number of hours, okay? So if you want to do it wrong, please don't. But if you wanted to do it wrong, you could say, oh, well, that one's just going to be 12 times the number of hours. Well, no, because that would mean, and again, this is wrong, so don't write this. But if I did this, that means if I worked 41 hours, then I earned $12 for all 41 hours? No, that's not what we did here. Here's what I did do, though. I worked my first 40 hours and got my $320. So that's how much I earned coming out of this and going into this one. And then I earned $12 per hour. Now, again, we might be tempted to say, I love this problem, it's so practical in so many little ways. I might be tempted to say that this is really going to be 320 plus 12H. No, it's not. Because at this point, the thing I multiply by 12 is not how many hours I worked, but how many hours above 40 I worked, okay? So this 1 right here, where you're like, man, why did he even write the 1? That's 1 hour beyond 40. So here's what I'm going to put. I'm not going to put H. I'm going to put h minus 40. Because if I'm in this category, then h is going to be bigger than 40 anyway, right? So if I worked 41 hours, that'd be 41 minus 40, so 1. So we just wrote a function, very practical stuff. This shows some of the practical aspects of piecewise functions.